So in California real estate, you see this all the time, right? You're not just working with one agent, but a whole team. But that brings up a really important question. Who on that team is legally on your side? And that's exactly what we're going to decode today using a key document from the California Association of Realtors called the Additional Agent Acknowledgement, or just Form AA. Let's break down how this one simple form clears up all that confusion.
So, here's what we're going to break down. We'll look at why you even need this form in the first place, what it is, how to decide if you're the buyer or seller, the right way to fill it out, what your signature really means legally, and then we'll wrap up with the one big takeaway. All right, let's dive in.
All right, let's just talk about how modern real estate actually works. It's pretty rare to be working with just one single agent anymore. It's all about teams. And yeah, that usually means you get amazing service. But it also creates this kind of murky area. It begs the question, who officially has the legal authority to represent you?
I mean, think about it for a second. You might have your main point of contact, but then there's a showing agent, maybe another agent who writes up offers, and a transaction coordinator helping out. But here's the kicker. If only one of those agents is actually named on the purchase agreement, what does that mean for everybody else? Are they really on the deal? That's the problem we're trying to solve here, making sure everyone is on the same page, legally speaking.
Which, of course, brings us to the solution, Form AAA. And honestly, the best way to think about this form is like an official team roster for your deal. That's its whole job, to get rid of any and all confusion. Now, this is super important. Form AAA is what's called an addendum. That means it's not a standalone thing. It's a legal document that literally attaches to your main contract, like your purchase agreement, and it officially lists every single licensed agent from that brokerage who has the authority to act on your behalf. The whole point is to leave zero room for interpretation.
Okay, so when you actually pull up the form, the very first thing you have to do is make one simple but really critical choice in Section 1. You've got to declare, is this team working for the seller or the buyer? That's it, and you can only check one box. That's a hard rule. Which leads to the obvious question, right? What if you have teams on both sides of the transaction? Well, it's actually super simple. Each team fills out its own separate Form AAA. One for the seller's team, one for the buyer's team. Easy.
All right, so once you've made that first choice, let's get into the nuts and bolts. We're going to walk through the 3 key steps to fill this thing out. And trust me, it's way more straightforward than it looks.
It really boils down to 3 simple things. First, you name the brokerage everyone works for. Second, you list out the full agent roster. And third, you connect this form back to the main agreement.
Okay, step 1. Name the brokerage. This is in Section 2A. And this is a big deal, because this form only works if every single agent on that list is licensed under the same supervising broker. It creates one single chain of command, one line of responsibility. No confusion.
All right, next up is the real meat and potatoes of the form in Section 2C, listing every single agent and their DRE license number. Now listen up, because this is a super important point that people mess up all the time. You have to list everyone. I mean, everyone. Even if your main agent is already on the purchase agreement, you list them again right here. It has to be a complete list. That's what gives this document its legal power.
And finally, step 3. Remember how we said this form is an addendum? It can't just float around on its own. So right at the top of the form, you have to spell out exactly what it's attached to. Is it the purchase agreement, the listing agreement? Whatever that main contract is, you name it here. It's got to be officially tied to the master document of the deal.
Okay, so the form is filled out, everything's correct, but what does it actually do when everyone signs on the dotted line? This is where it goes from just being a piece of paper to being a really powerful legal tool. You know, the real magic of this form, the whole reason it works, boils down to this one little phrase in Section 3. The other licensees shall also be deemed to be named. That phrase is everything. Basically, what it's saying is, wherever you see the main agent's name in any of the contracts, the law now deems, or considers, every other agent on this list to be named right there with them. They're all officially tied together.
So what does that actually mean in practice? Well, it has 3 big effects. First, for the agents themselves, it means you are all legally authorized to do your jobs for the client. Second, for you, the client, you get a crystal clear official list of exactly who is working for you. No guesswork. And finally, for the deal as a whole, it formally extends all the rights and responsibilities of that main agent to the entire team. Everyone is on the same legal footing.
So if you're going to remember just one thing from all this, what should it be? Why does this little form matter so much? It all boils down to this one simple idea. Clarity protects everyone. Look, this isn't just more paperwork for the sake of paperwork. It's a tool for total transparency. It protects you, the client, from any confusion, it protects the agents by giving them the legal authority to act, and it protects the brokerage by making sure everything is compliant and above board.
So, that leaves us with one final question that every agent, broker, and client needs to ask anytime a team is involved in a deal. Is your team officially on the record? Form AAG is the tool that makes sure the answer to that question is always a loud, clear yes. Thanks so much for tuning in.